This is Mox. He studies for less than 40 minutes a day, gets enough sleep, has time to meet friends, yet still ranks in the top 5% of his class. Mox spends most of his time reviewing by taking practice tests and teaching his friends. And this is Tony. He studies more than 4 hours a day, cuts down on sleep, rarely goes out, yet still struggles to maintain a B average. Tony drowns himself in colorful notes, rereads textbooks for hours, but the knowledge just slips away. So what's the difference between Mox and Tony? It's not intelligence. It's not hard work. It's not luck. It's the way they study. Now take a moment and ask yourself, how effective is your study method on a scale of 1 to 10? Keep that number in mind, because by the end of this video, I bet you'll want to change your answer. My story. Did you rate your study method yet? Hold that number in your head. By the end, I'll share a powerful learning technique that took me from barely passing to consistently scoring top marks. It all started on a night I'll never forget. Back in high school, I sat in my room, surrounded by empty soda cans and coffee cups. My notebook was filled with neatly highlighted pages in blue, red, purple, and yellow. It was 3 a.m. I had been cramming for 12 hours straight for a biology exam. I thought I was doing everything right, beautiful notes, endless reading. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. And I was right. That test was a disaster. After that night, everything changed. Not because I suddenly became smarter, but because I finally realized one truth. I had no idea how to study effectively. The productivity illusion. Have you ever fallen into this trap? Your textbooks are covered in highlighter, your notes look like an art project, you read the same paragraph over and over until you can recite it. Yet when the test comes, you forget everything. Maybe you even post pictures of your study session, feeling productive. But in reality, nothing sticks. This is called the productivity illusion, the belief that sitting with books for hours automatically makes you smarter. Think about it. If you spend more time picking the perfect highlighter color than actually understanding the content, you're lost. Schools don't teach us this. Teachers say, study for 3 hours. Review the entire chapter. But studying isn't about sitting longer. It's about studying the right way. Working hard doesn't always mean working smart. And no matter how many hours you spend, if your method is wrong, your results won't improve. The formula for effective studying. Many students fall into the consumption trap, thinking that the more they read, the more they learn. But our brains aren't photocopiers. You can't just feed in information and expect it to stay. It's more like digestion. If you cram too much, nothing gets absorbed. I discovered a simple formula. Knowledge retained equals study time times retention rate. For example, if you study for 5 hours but only remember 10%, that's like studying effectively for just 30 minutes. But if you study for 1 hour and remember 50%, you're learning 5 times more efficiently, and you've saved 4 extra hours for sleep or fun. This means the number of hours you study isn't what matters. It's how you use that time. So if you're studying for hours but still forgetting everything, the problem isn't your brain, it's your method. And the good news? You can fix it. The power of active learning. You might not believe this, but when I cut down my study hours, my grades actually went up. I used to study like a zombie, rereading textbooks, highlighting every word, making perfect notes, only to forget everything after the exam. Then I switched to active learning. Instead of reading, I practiced with real exercises. Instead of rereading theories, I explained them to a friend. Instead of writing everything down, I constantly tested myself. As a result, my retention rate shot up from 10% to 70%. Passive studying is like pouring water into a basket. It just flows right through. Active studying is like sealing the holes first, so the knowledge actually stays. With this method, I studied half the time but jumped from mediocre grades to consistently scoring top marks. Passive learning makes you feel productive. Active learning actually makes you better. Now, you're probably thinking, how do I study less but remember more? Don't worry, I've got a step-by-step plan for you. A practical study plan. Here's how to study effectively. Try applying these techniques and see what works for you. First, don't study for hours non-stop. Break your study time into shorter sessions. Each subject should be studied for about 30 to 60 minutes. Take a 5 to 10 minute break between sessions to let your brain process information. Second, before opening your textbook, test yourself. What do you already know? Identify weak areas and focus on them instead of wasting time reviewing things you already understand. Third, teach what you learn. Explain concepts in simple words, as if you're teaching a child. If you have no one to teach, talk to yourself in front of a mirror or out loud. Fourth, use active learning techniques. Instead of just reading and taking notes, do practice problems, use flashcards, and apply concepts to real-life situations. Fifth, connect new knowledge to things you already know. For example, if you're studying economics, relate it to real-world prices and market trends. Sixth, review quickly before sleeping. Research shows that the brain strengthens memories during sleep. Spend 5 to 10 minutes before bed reviewing key points. You'll remember them much longer the next day. Seventh, avoid multitasking while studying. Your brain focuses best when you eliminate distractions. Put your phone on silent, find a quiet space, and train yourself to concentrate deeply for short bursts. Eighth, make studying enjoyable. Use different methods like drawing mind maps, listening to educational podcasts, or forming study groups. When learning is engaging, your brain retains information better. That's it. Simple, right? If you use these methods, studying will feel easier and your grades will improve effortlessly. Studying smarter, not longer, is the key to success. Now take another moment. Do you still rate your study method the same as before? If you follow these strategies, you'll spend less time cramming, stress less, and still get the grades you want. So, are you ready to study less and achieve more? Let's dive deeper into each of these strategies and understand why they work. You don't need to be a genius to study effectively. You just need to change your approach. The science behind active learning. Why does active learning work better than passive learning? It all comes down to how your brain processes and retains information. When you simply read or highlight, your brain is only engaging at a surface level. However, when you actively engage, through teaching, testing, and applying knowledge, your brain works harder to retrieve and reinforce the information. One powerful concept behind this is the testing effect. Studies show that self-testing is one of the most effective ways to enhance learning. When you quiz yourself, even before you feel ready, your brain strengthens neural connections and improves long-term retention. Instead of just recognizing information, you're forced to recall it, which makes it stick. Another essential principle is spaced repetition. Many students make the mistake of cramming information all at once. The problem? Your brain forgets most of it within a few days. Instead, space out your review sessions. For example, review material after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week. This strengthens your memory and reduces the need for last-minute cramming. The 80-20 rule of studying. Ever heard of the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule? It states that 80% of results come from 20% of the effort. In studying, this means that a small portion of your study techniques will give you the biggest results. Identify the key 20% of study strategies that actually help you retain knowledge and focus on them. For example, instead of rewriting notes for hours, spend 20% of your time creating mind maps or summaries. Instead of rereading textbooks, use that time to teach or quiz yourself. Instead of passively consuming information, engage in discussions or problem solving. The power of interleaving. Most students study in blocks, spending hours on one subject before moving to the next. However, research suggests that interleaving or mixing up different subjects is far more effective. Why? Because it forces your brain to stay alert and make connections between different concepts. Try this approach. Instead of studying math for 3 hours straight, spend 30 minutes on math, then switch to history, then to science. When reviewing, mix up problem types instead of doing the same type of question repeatedly. Rotate between different ways of learning, reading, testing, teaching, and applying knowledge. The role of sleep in studying. Do you sacrifice sleep to study more? If so, you're actually hurting your ability to remember information. Sleep is when your brain consolidates memories, so pulling an all-nighter before an exam is one of the worst things you can do. Research shows that students who sleep well after studying retain significantly more than those who stay up cramming. To maximize memory retention, sleep at least 7 to 9 hours a night. Review key concepts before bed. Your brain will reinforce them as you sleep. Avoid screens at least 30 minutes before sleeping, as blue light disrupts sleep quality. The hidden power of physical activity. Did you know that exercise can improve memory and learning? Studies have found that just 20 to 30 minutes of light exercise, such as walking or stretching, can enhance focus and cognitive function. If you're feeling stuck or unmotivated, a short workout can boost blood flow to your brain and refresh your mind. Try this. Take a 10-minute walk before starting a study session. Use the Pomodoro technique. Study for 25 minutes, then do 5 minutes of stretching or movement. If you need to memorize something, try walking while reviewing. The movement helps reinforce learning. How to stay motivated while studying. One of the hardest parts of studying isn't learning. It's staying motivated. Here's how to keep yourself engaged. Number 1. Set small goals. Instead of saying, I need to study for 4 hours, break it down. I'll finish one practice test. Or I'll teach myself this one concept. Number 2. Gamify your study sessions. Turn studying into a challenge. Time yourself, track progress, or reward yourself for completing difficult tasks. Number 3. Find a study buddy. Teaching others is one of the best ways to reinforce knowledge. Plus, it makes studying less lonely. Number 4. Make it fun. Use memory tricks, watch educational videos, or change your environment to keep things fresh. The 3 biggest study mistakes to avoid. Even if you use the right study techniques, certain habits can sabotage your progress. Here are 3 mistakes to avoid. Multitasking while studying. Your brain isn't designed to focus on multiple things at once. Avoid studying while watching TV, checking social media, or listening to distracting music. Overloading on information. Focus on understanding concepts, not just memorizing. If you try to learn too much at once, you'll forget most of it. Ignoring weaknesses. If a subject is difficult, don't avoid it. Identify weak areas early and dedicate time to improving them. The final step, take action. You now have a proven study system that can help you learn faster, remember more, and get better grades, without spending endless hours buried in books. But knowing isn't enough. Right now, choose one of these techniques and apply it today. Try active recall instead of rereading. Use spaced repetition to review information over time. Quiz yourself before studying, not after. Teach a concept to a friend or out loud to yourself. If you do this, you'll start seeing improvements almost immediately. Studying effectively isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. Now, let me ask you again. On a scale of 1 to 10, how effective is your study method now? If you apply what you've learned today, I guarantee that number will go up. So, are you ready to study less and achieve more? Let's make it happen.